Every day for the last couple months, man, I've been waiting for the Flesh and Blood 2.0 announcement and to figuring out what it really means for Flesh and Blood. And if you don't know what that is, in Q1 2022, James White sat down and he did a couple interviews with the content creators and he said, "Hey, first edition, unlimited, not really what we expected, not really working out from what we see. It's going to change in this Flesh and Blood 2.0." And then coming soon. And I appreciate that. It's good to be very transparent with the audience here, but man, it's been an interesting time period for Flesh and Blood. It's very solemn, it's very secure. I feel like everyone's holding their wallets tightly against their chest and all their cards. I'm like, okay, wait, let's see what's gonna happen. Let's see. And it's just been a very long time since we've gotten an update from that. And I just wanted to give my thoughts and opinions. And I just want to express really what this time period's about in Q1 2022. You know, we're all waiting. We're all waiting. Let's see what happens. And it's just an interesting time period for Flesh and Blood. Now, overall, I want to give you my theory. Well, I'll talk more about this in the future once it gets announced, and then I can actually talk what it really is. But let me really just speculate. Now, Flesh and Blood, first edition, unlimited. The market right now is pretty, down the dumps. You can get any product you want for $80 to $100, usually. Unlimited, first edition, normal stuff. Of course, the first three sets, Crucible War, Arcane Rising, Welcome to Wrath, they're first editions through the roof. But everything else is pretty reasonable, for the most part. Now, this is good. If you're a consumer, man, you can buy anything you want. Versus the past. But overall, if I have to summarize high level about what I think is going through Legend Story Studios' minds, is that during Monarch is the key pivotal moment in time for Flesh and Blood. I think that there was a really big instance where first edition products were hoarded by stores, investors, other individuals, and the price skyrocketed. And Legend Story Studios doesn't want that to happen again. So when you see products like Tales of Aria, they increase their print run dramatically on first edition product because I think they listened. I think they listened to the market, and the market said, "Oh, well, if your booster box is $400 a box on release, how are you going to grow your player base?" And I can't disagree with that argument. There's also the other argument of make it collectible so gets a lot of clicks and likes and people are interested in the game. But all in all, I think they realized that Monarch, they didn't want to happen again. They didn't want to have local game stores and other big time investors say, "Hey, this is a great opportunity for me to buy a shit ton of product and hold it and sell at the high price." And they didn't want to incentivize stores to do that. And then after that, when they get their unlimited product, dump that onto their consumers instead and don't give them the first edition product. And you might say, well, Bronson, well, they can do all these different things to police the local game store. And I'm saying, no, it takes a lot of time policing. They don't have all the time in the day to police every little store for all these things. At the end of the day, you can't blame the local game stores who wanted to sell at a higher price. Is it against what Legend Story Studios wanted? Yes. But can you blame a game store who is, nickel and diamond every shit and wanting to survive and thrive in this industry? And they're given booster boxes around Monarch's time. They were around $350 a box, and they were told to sell them for $100 a box, making $20 profit. Or you could sell it on eBay for even $300, fire sell it, and you could get $220 a box versus $20. So you can see the dilemma that a lot of game stores were in. Even if they, didn't really want to do it, maybe it paid the rent for a couple months, maybe it did that. So all in all, I think game stores were incentivized to just keep their product and, sell on other mediums instead of selling to the customers in their store. Now I think after that, Tales of Aria, Legend Story Studios, bumped up the print run. It wasn't as bad. Of course, pre-release, people. So I feel like a lot of people did get burned with Tales of Aria. They locked in at higher pre-release prices, and then shortly, a week, 2 weeks after release for Tales of Aria, it dropped. And I think that was the slap on the wrist to all the people who wanted to just get into Flesh and Blood for investing, and that's all they cared about is the short term for the game. And I think that's good. I've said during Monarch, I said a while ago, Flesh and Blood has to get printed in larger volumes in order for these investors and short-term people who don't really, give a crap to just get out, and for that space to not really dominate the whole demand for the product. Now, when you had this new set Everfest, yeah, you had even, a really large print run as well. But what I think you see in Everfest versus Aria is the alternate art cards and these extremely rare variants of cards that are pulled in like 1 out of 200 boxes or 1 out of 300 boxes. And I think that is the drop going forward for Flesh and Blood. I think that is what Flesh and Blood 2.0 is all going to be about. It's going to be about extremely rare cards in boxes that, have a very low pull rate and that are rare, but they're, even though they're very rare per box, they're also very rare when you look at the entire print run. And I could even see things where they only print, one rare card. Say you get 1 out of 100 boxes, you get it, but you only get it in one wave of the product. And then the second wave of the product of a new set coming out, they put like another extended art of some other card, and that's even that has the same rarity as the other one. So every wave you have different type of extended art cards that really drive up the value for that card because it's more limited. But you don't do this thing where all the hot cards are in first edition and then unlimited just has there's no money, no anything in the unlimited version, because that's what's happening now. Not that many people want unlimited products. It's harder to get out versus first edition. So I think that that's where Flesh and Blood and Legend Story Studios is going. I would love to make a video on the exact 2.0 situation, and I guess that will come in the future. But in my mind, that's where I'm seeing things with first edition unlimited. And you might say, well, Bronson, Legend Story Studios needs to accurately reflect their market and know what to print ahead of time. And I disagree with that. I disagree with that very high level, because there's no way a company can know the exact amount of demand for their product at a certain period of time. They've got to get it into a range. And you might think that they need to underprint first edition. That is an option, but the problem still remains. If first edition product is underprinted, right? Let's say you're saying, Bronson, I got it, man. We're going to have a first edition product, $150 a booster box. We're going to really short print that and then have unlimited after that. So you have first edition product for the collectors and then unlimited product for the players. Well, here's what's going to happen. You're going to have the same scenario play out as Monarch. You're going to have the local game stores who rightfully so will see, okay, this is the money box. I'm going to keep the money box. And then the unlimited box, I'm going to sell to people. So the first edition product isn't really going to make it to people's hands as much as, the sets that are coming out now. If you short print it, stores are going to hoard it. Also, you're going to have big time individuals that also work with stores saying, hey, what does a print run look like? And the store's going to be like, it's kind of low. And then those big individuals through the gray market are just going to absorb as much product as they can through different avenues of distribution and whatnot. It's just, what happens, man. That's what happened with Monarch. You had this scenario play out. So saying that Flesh and Blood should be short printed, or just the first edition product should be, very limited. Like, let's say 1/6 as much as Everfest, right? If you do that, you're just going to run into another Monarch scenario. Plain and simple. Now, the only other way, and I think that this is what they're doing, is make a large print run for first edition, but then make lottery card type aspects where you have cards in the box that are worth money because, because they're very low rarity of pulling. I mean, some of the cards in Everfest, man, it's crazy. You have to open like 150 boxes just to get like one like specific variant of card. You know how much money that is for 150 50 boxes, like that is a collector's item. That is a prime example of something very valuable and just, limited. So I really like that aspect of it. I really like that they went that way with Everfest, and I think that that's what we're going to hear more of in 2.0. I think that we're going to hear possibly, then this is just my speculation, I guess by the time you're watching this video, it could already be released. But I think that they're going to have more waves that have different types of alternate art cards in them for Everfest. Like, let's say Everfest has, 4 big waves. Each wave could have a specific, chase cards, like 20 chase cards that are only in that wave. And wave after wave after wave, they change the chase cards in them. And that's very easy to implement. I mean, you just have to, take out X amount of cards and then put out another, X amount of cards in those slots for manufacturing. It's pretty quite simple. Now that's just a theory of what they could do with the product. I heard James White in a couple interviews when he's talking about Flesh and Blood 2.0. It's all about the Unlimited versus First Edition. It's all about that and how there is, different things around that they want to change up, that it's not doing what they expected. But, all in all, man, I think Flesh and Blood's doing great. I think that we're in a time period where people are... Now, I'm going to ramble a lot at the end here. I think in Q1 2022, we're in a position where the market and people who are getting into trading card games are coming off their high. We were all on that, crack in 2020 or late 2020, early 2021, around Q1 through Q2. We were high off that, that crack, man. We were just like absorbing it, just really just going for it, man. Like the amount of money and capital and price appreciation for all collectibles, Flesh and Blood mainly, man, it just skyrocketed. And when I first saw it back in 2020, I made a spoofy video. I talked about Hurricane FOMO and how people were massively getting into Flesh and Blood and prices were going insane. And I said I did that because I never saw anything like it in my life. It was just insane how much prices of cards were appreciating at an insane level. And it was such a big high at that moment. And I feel like early in 2022, there's also other market factors out there. There's also different, crypto stuff and stock market and world events and, all that bullshit as well. But I think we're coming off that high. And I feel like people are really feeling that. And I think that Flesh and Blood overall, you might say, well, the booster boxes are really low. The product sank. It's overprinted. But all in all, man, is it really? Like, is it like? And is it even a problem? I mean, I remember late into 2020 and early Q1 2021, I had to defend Legend Story Studios, and I didn't have to, but I did. I saw all these different posts on message threads and everything, like, oh my gosh, this game is too expensive. How can I play this game? All these code foils and all these decks are worth thousands of dollars. I can't play this game. It's too expensive. And I've lived through that era of Flesh and Blood. I've been there. I've heard it all. And now, when prices of products are, really affordable, and when anyone can get their hands on products for reasonable rates, I think that's a good thing. And you might think it's bad, but all in all, if you look at the expected, and rambling, not investment advice whatsoever, if you look at the EV of the boxes, it's not that bad. If you said, Matt Bronson, I did the spreadsheet, the EV for this Welcome to Wrath Unlimited box is $30. I'd be like, wow, damn, that sucks. But it's not. And other channels can go into the exact EV pricing. I'm not going to price anything for you here today. I'm just a normal guy in a normal room. But I've run numbers, and the EV on most of the boxes look fine. I think Monarch Unlimited is the only one that's kind of like woof. but a lot of the other ones are pretty damn good. I mean, especially the first edition Tales of Aria and the first edition, Everfest. He's pretty damn good. So I don't think we're in an era where these products, there's too many of them. I think they are what they are, and it is what it is. And overall, I think Legend Story Studios is making a great product. And if you look at their focus, I'm really proud of them as a whole for keeping on and staying the course and trying to just make the best damn game that they can and not really focus too much on collectability and just say, hey, we want to have the best gameplay. We want to have the best tournament scene. We want pro play and like competitive level play in their game, because I think that is the golden goose for them. Because no matter what, Flesh and Blood has the best gameplay I've played in any TCG, and hyper focusing on that alone and just making product available for any consumer to buy, I think is a good thing. And overall, it'll be very interesting to see what this whole Flesh and Blood 2.0 is, and I'm very excited. It'll be really interesting to see, but overall, currently it's not too bad. Not too bad at all. But I do see that if you think about it and think about the scenarios that you go through, having a first edition print can't be like too rare. Maybe have some other product that's rare, that's like a $200 booster box, like the Magic the Gathering, like vaults or whatever. I don't know. Maybe that's a play, but even still, it'd be maybe. But if you even do any type of premium level product for like $150 or $200, let's entertain that idea. You're still gonna have stores that are gonna hoard them. You're still gonna have big individuals try to manipulate the price and just buy a bunch, and they're still gonna, like, the demand for the investor and collectors is just gonna be like hyper focused there, and then the unlimited product or even the first edition product at that point, the normal product, is just gonna stay at what it is. Maybe that's the good direction, I don't know. But overall, I hope if there is a premium product, the local game stores get a very big portion of lion's share margin and revenue on that thing, man. Because like I would want it to be like maybe they have to buy it for $75 a box, but the MSRP is $200. So you do the math on that one. So that's $125 worth of profit in their pockets. And you reward certain local game stores who are hosting the most events or doing the most for your game with a larger portion of premium product. That sounds right to me. And say, hey, do whatever you want with it. Sell it to the people at your store. You're gonna make, I don't know what $125 what that percentage margin is, but it's very high. So the local game stores are like, okay, I could sell this on eBay, but what's the point? I don't want to bite the hand that feeds me, and I'm gonna get a really good, return on this, capital. I mean, they buy like 6 of these for $75 each, and they sell them all 6 of them and make $125 profit instantly. They're gonna be happy, at the end of the day. I think in the past, when you look at the Monarch product, when you look at other products for Flesh and Blood, the margins wasn't very in it for them, especially when you compared it to the price in the open market. You have a booster box that you were told to sell for $100 and it's selling online for $200 or $300 for Monarch. And it's just, when you get to that level of situation, I think it's hard for anyone. I can't imagine being in the shoes of game stores and having to make that decision. But anyway, that's just my thoughts on a premium product for Flesh and Blood. But ultimately, I think that Everfest is really a great turn forward. I mean, look at all these extended art cards that are extremely rare. Look at the prices on TCG Player. The market's spoken. The market's saying, hey, we like this. This is rare. This is a collectible. I want to collect this and pay a premium price. I mean, if you saw like, a little bit of increase on them versus their counterpart, I would say, okay, maybe the market isn't saying that. But look at the increase in price from just a normal Majestic card versus an alternate art card. It's $50, $60 more. I haven't seen TCG Player in a little bit. I apologize for you. But ultimately, I think people are saying, hey, this is a cool collectible. And they know it is because, you have all these nice YouTube channels out there. I forgot the guy who did it, but there's a video out there where this guy opens like 100 boxes of Everfest and says, hey, this is the results of everything. I mean, Michael, Salty Whale, he also said, hey, opened a ton of product. Here's what I got. Look at his channel. I'll put a link down below to his. And you can see, hey, look at how rare these certain cards are. These people open 100, 200 boxes of Everfest and only got maybe 2 or maybe 1 of a card. That's extremely rare. And I think that that's the best way forward, because all in all, you have collectible pieces, but you have it in a box that is really good for everyone. And the expected value of the box stays, relatively high, because you have these high dollar variants that are, very rare to get in a box. So just overall my thoughts. But hopefully we hear the actual Flesh and Blood 2.0 announcement soon. I've been waiting for months, man. Been waiting for that shit. So I hope it all works out good. And I wish the best for Legend Story Studios. Do a great job. Doing a good job in life, man. Liking their shit.